I mean, imagine you run like a manufacturing plant, right?
Okay, sure.
And your success rate is 0.1%.
Oh, wow. That is a terrible success rate.
Right. Literally 1 out of every 1,000 products actually passes inspection. The other 999 are just totally defective.
Yeah, you'd be bankrupt by lunch.
Exactly. In any normal earthly scenario, the board fires you, the doors get locked, and the factory is demolished.
Oh, for sure.
But according to this incredible piece of source material we are diving into today, that 0.1% yield rate is actually the exact operational metric of planet Earth.
It's wild. It completely flips the script on how we view existence,
It really does.
We're looking at this framework that takes like the most profound, deeply mystical concepts of human history and just subjects them to this ruthless, almost industrial audit.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're here. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are exploring a fascinating script today about something called the Universe Code.
It's a great read.
It really is. And our mission today is to basically strip away all the cultural and linguistic layers of the world's major religions. I mean, we're talking everything from the meditative traditions of Buddhism to the theological structures of Islam.
Right, getting past the surface level.
Exactly. To reveal something just totally wild, we are going to look at how they might all be describing the exact same system algorithm.
Yeah, but instead of using the language of poetry or, mysticism, they're doing it using the framework of data engineering and binary code.
Binary code. It's crazy when you translate these ancient, incredibly dense philosophical systems into modern computing language, the mystical veil just drops.
It completely drops. You stop reading these texts as like moral fables, and you start reading them as a highly technical operating manual for consciousness.
So I want you, the listener, to just imagine for a second. What if concepts like heaven, hell, and reincarnation weren't matters of magic or divine mystery? What if they were literal data processing mechanisms? Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the mechanics of the universe, we have to start by looking at Earth not as some testing ground for morality, but as a heavy-duty industrial operation.
Yeah, a factory.
Specifically, our sources define Earth as a cosmic or refinery.
And if Earth is a refinery, the entire goal of this planet is to extract something valuable from raw, chaotic material.
Just separating the good stuff from the junk.
Exactly. The script points out that staggering statistic you mentioned earlier. Only 0.1%, literally 1 in 1,000 souls, actually emerge from this earthly refining process as stable, pure gold.
It's a tough metric.
It is. And those few, the 0.1%, they are ready for what the source refers to as the heavenly treasury.
1 in 1,000. I just keep getting hung up on that because, frankly, it sounds so wildly inefficient.
Well, it sounds inefficient to a human, right? Because we're bound by time.
True, yeah, we have an expiration date.
Exactly. But the universe doesn't have a quarterly earnings report to worry about. It has infinite time and infinite resources. So the yield rate doesn't actually matter to the system as long as that gold is pure.
Okay, fair enough.
Awesome.
But in a normal factory, the remaining 99.9% is just waste. Like it gets tossed into a landfill.
Right.
But an automated universal algorithm doesn't do landfills. The 99.9% aren't thrown away, they are recycled.
They have to be.
Yeah, they become the raw material for the next cosmic cycle. And this is where the sources draw a brilliant parallel to some very old ideas.
Oh, this part is fascinating.
Because this recycling process perfectly mirrors the Buddhist concept of the Mahakalpa, that great unimaginably long cycle of the universe creating and destroying itself.
Yeah, and it also maps directly onto the Islamic concept of the end of days.
Oh, right.
Historically, people interpret the end of days as this final, terrifying conclusion. Like everything is just over.
Fire and brimstone, the end of the line.
Exactly. But through the lens of data engineering, it isn't an end at all. It is a system-wide reset.
Like rebooting a computer.
Right. It's wiping the servers to start a brand new beta test with all that recycled material. Nothing is truly lost. It simply changes its state of matter.
Okay, so the engine driving this entire recycling process, the core logic of existence itself, operates on a spiritual binary code. Zeros and ones.
Yeah, back to the basics of computing.
Let's break that binary down because it fundamentally reframes how we're supposed to view our spiritual goals. Let's start with 0.
Okay.
In this universe code, 0 represents emptiness. It is a state of absolutely no will. It's cooling down, letting go, and merging with the immortal element.
0 is basically the baseline of the universe. It is perfect equilibrium.
Complete stillness.
Yeah, in a state of 0, there is no friction. There's no resistance to reality, no localized identity demanding that things go its specific way.
Which perfectly explains the mechanics of something like Vipassana meditation in Buddhism.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The entire goal of Vipassana is to just sit, observe your physical sensations, and explicitly not react to them.
They're training your brain.
Exactly, you are training your brain to observe without craving or aversion. In a data sense, you are systematically starving your ego. You're trying to strip away all your unique reactive programming to achieve a pure state of 0.
And then, on the flip side, you have the 1.
Right.
The 1 is the exact opposite of equilibrium. The 1 represents will. It represents creation, action, and most importantly, ego.
The sense of I.
Yes. Our sources point out that this is the primary focus of theism, religion centered around a distinct creator deity who exerts will to fashion the universe out of the void.
It also explains Mahayana Buddhism, right? In that tradition, bodhisattvas are enlightened beings who could achieve total emptiness, like they could merge into the 0 if they wanted to.
But they don't.
Right. They specifically retain a tiny fraction of their will, their 1. They hold on to just enough ego so they can keep respawning back into the system to help other people escape it.
It's this constant tension between being and non-being.
Yeah.
The 1 creates the data, it generates all the friction, it drives the entire earthly experience.
And the 0.
The 0 is that profound silence that eventually absorbs all that data when the work is finally done.
Okay, stick with me here, because this makes me think of, like, a giant silicon recycling plant.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Imagine you have billions of broken, outdated microchips. Those are the souls, right? The 99.9% who just didn't make the cut.
Rejects.
Yeah. The plant melts them all down. It completely strips away their old programming, their corrupted software, their entire old identity, all the way down to the base silicon.
Back to the raw materials.
Exactly. And then it uses that pure raw material to build a brand new supercomputer.
That's a great way to visualize it.
But it makes me wonder, if the universe operates on binary code, does that make the concept of a creator just a cosmic programmer typing out ones and zeros, or is the system entirely automated?
What's fascinating here is how this specific framework forces us to completely abandon the anthropomorphic view of God.
The old man in the sky.
Exactly. When you look at the universe as an automated, self-sustaining system of binary code, the creator doesn't have to be a guy with a white beard making moment-to-moment emotional decisions.
Deciding who gets punished and who gets a miracle.
Right. The system is just doing what a system does. It's sorting, refining, and balancing data.
It really takes the personal offense out of reality, doesn't it? Like, if you fail, you aren't being smited by an angry deity. Your data just wasn't compatible yet.
Understanding this binary system completely shifts our perspective. We move away from this idea of a punishing, vindictive universe towards seeing it as an incredibly efficient, entirely natural recycling system.
It's just business.
Yeah, the system is completely indifferent to your ego, but it is deeply, deeply invested in your refinement.
I can grasp the macro level of that. It makes logical sense. But if this system is so perfectly automated, so incredibly efficient at sorting the zeros from the ones, I'm struggling to understand where things actually go wrong.
The anomalies.
Yeah, if it's just code, why does evil exist? Every single religious tradition has its version of the adversary, the fallen angel, the ultimate bad guy.
It's the obvious glaring question, right? If the code is so perfect, why are there bugs in the software?
Exactly.
And our sources tackle this by looking specifically at the Islamic concept of Iblis, who is often translated as Satan, but through this exact lens of data engineering.
Okay, hold on, because I had a really hard time wrapping my head around this part of the source material.
It's definitely a paradigm shift.
For sure. Every tradition teaches us to fear this ultimate adversary as the source of all malice in the world. Are you saying the ultimate source of evil is just like a legacy software glitch?
That is exactly what the source is suggesting. Iblis isn't framed as this primordial monster who just decided to be evil for the sake of being evil. According to this data model, Iblis is actually data that passed the previous cycle.
Right. Wait, really? He was the 0.1%. He actually made it through the last universe reset.
He did. He got to the heavenly treasury, but then a massive mechanical glitch happens in his code.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he gets stuck in what the source calls the final observer.
Meaning what exactly? Like he looked back?
Basically, he retained a sense of I. He successfully navigated the entire previous cycle, but his ego flared up right at the finish line.
So close.
I know, right?
Mm.
He couldn't let go of his identity to become a zero. And when the system booted up the new cycle and introduced the new raw material, specifically humans, which the ancient texts say are made of clay, Iblis looks at them, and his code just throws an error.
He crashes?
He basically says, wait, I am made of smokeless fire. I am immortal. My hardware is vastly superior to this dirt.
It's an insane superiority complex, but quantified literally as a hardware compatibility issue.
Exactly.
He retained too much of the one. He couldn't let go of the I am. So what does an automated universal system do with a file that passed the hardest test, but then gets corrupted by its own ego? It can't just delete him, right?
No, because the universe never wastes energy. It uses absolutely everything. So the script describes Iblis being repurposed by the system as a rock crusher.
A rock crusher. I love that mechanical metaphor.
It's very visceral.
It is. So his original good data, the part of him that successfully passed the previous cycle, is permanently saved in the treasury.
Right.
But his ego-polluted soul elements, the glitchy parts of him that refuse to integrate, those are sent back down into the new classroom.
Back into the earthly refinery.
Yeah, to act as the crushing mechanism, to test the new data.
Yeah.
To test us.
Exactly.
Wait, I really want to make sure I'm getting this. Iblis isn't some ultimate evil mastermind playing a cosmic chess game against God. He's basically just a buggy piece of legacy software that refuses to update. So the system simply repurposed him as a firewall to stress test the new users.
That is a phenomenal way to put it, yes.
It's wild.
He is a necessary stressor in the environment. And emphasizing this point really challenges that traditional cartoonish binary of good and evil we're all taught.
The guys in white hats versus the guys in black hats.
Right. Even the darkest, most difficult elements of the universe serve a highly functional purpose in data refinement. You literally cannot separate gold from rock without a crushing mechanism.
It forces you to question your assumptions about what bad actually means in the grand scheme of things.
Really?
If the crushing mechanism didn't exist, the gold would never get separated, which logically brings up how the system judges us, the new data being crushed.
The metric for survival.
Yeah, how does it decide who survives the rock crusher and who gets purged?
So the source introduces this concept called the seed of goodness.
Which sounds very nice.
It sounds very sweet and highly moralistic, sure. But in this technical framework, the seed of goodness is simply the acceptance of the law of karma.
Oh.
It is the fundamental recognition of cause and effect.
Meaning like logic gates. If I do X, Y happens.
Precisely. It's the foundational acknowledgement of the system's rules. If you have this seed, meaning you understand that your actions actually have consequences, the system can work with you.
And the text says that if you have this seed, even if you've done terrible things, even if your code is absolutely full of errors and malware, hell is just a smelting furnace.
It's a cleaning process.
Right. It's not this eternal damnation where you are tortured for sport by demons. It is simply a high-heat environment designed specifically to clean your data. The heat burns off the junk, and your core data is saved.
Because you still operate within the basic logic of the algorithm.
Yeah.
But there's an alternative. What happens to the data that entirely rejects cause and effect?
Well, those become corrupted files. If a soul completely refuses to accept the rules of the system, if they refuse to learn from cause and effect and insist their actions don't matter, they break the core logic of the algorithm.
They become unreadable.
Exactly. The system realizes this data cannot be refined, so it permanently formats the drive.
A literal factory reset.
It purges your identity entirely. Your specific you-ness, all your memories, your personality just wiped completely clean. And your raw, blank soul elements are just tossed back into the hopper for the next cycle. I have to admit, there is something deeply unsettling about the idea of my entire identity just being formatted like some old hard drive.
It definitely challenges our attachment to who we think we are,
Big time.
But strictly mechanically speaking, it's a very pragmatic view of cosmic justice. There is no endless vindictive torture for the corrupted file. The system just recognizes an unrecoverable error and initiates a complete wipe to save the raw materials.
That makes total sense on a cosmic scale.
Yeah?
But I want to pivot from the cosmic firewall and universal resets to the listener's direct present-day experience.
Bringing it back down to earth.
Yeah, because if the universe is this massive, unfeeling data refining machine, What does that refining process actually feel like for you right now on a random Tuesday afternoon?
Right. How does the macro translate to the micro? What is the actual sensation of having your data refined?
The sources explain this using the theory of quantum parallel processing. And this is where things get slightly mind-bending, so bear with me.
It gets deep.
Very deep. The idea is that the physical world we are walking around in right now and the concept of hell, or the smelting furnace, are not two entirely separate physical locations on a map.
You don't just take an elevator down to hell.
Exactly. They are the exact same energy existing in the exact same space, just running on different frequency dimensions.
Think of it like a dog whistle.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
The sound wave exists in the exact same room you're standing in, but it's operating on a frequency dimension your hardware just can't process.
Exactly. So what we experience as current earthly suffering, whether it's grief, physical pain, severe anxiety, or even just stubbing your toe, is actually feedback.
Live feedback.
Yes. It is the real-time friction of our data being scrubbed of junk in another dimension.
It's the latency in the system. When your code resists the reality of the algorithm, it generates heat. And we feel that heat as emotional or physical suffering.
That is such a staggering reframing of pain, because it means by accepting reality exactly as it is and intentionally letting go of our will, moving ourselves closer to that zero state, we are actively cooperating with the system.
Working with it, not against it.
Right. We are consciously purging the junk data from our own minds. If we stop resisting, we reduce the friction, which literally smooths out the processing in that parallel dimension.
And all of that earthly scrubbing, all that friction and heat leads to one unavoidable event for every single piece of data in the system.
Which is?
The moment of death.
The final data transfer. According to the source material, the exact mechanics of dying are absolutely fascinating.
That's so cool.
The text suggests that the moment you die, linear time completely vanishes. It just ceases to exist as a timeline. All of your thoughts, all of your experiences, every ounce of your karma, all of your compiled data is instantly uploaded and merged into a larger identity in the absolute blink of an eye.
It's a zero latency upload. But just like any file transfer on a network, the success of that sync depends entirely on the formatting of the file.
Right, and this all revolves around the .ego extension. There are two distinct outcomes to this instant upload.
Okay, let's hear them.
If you have spent your earthly life letting go of the knower, dropping the observer-like, if you've actually achieved that zero state, your file is perfectly clean.
No bugs.
No proprietary formatting. It dissolves flawlessly into the immortal element.
The sync is completely seamless. There is no bounce back at all. You become one with the base code of the system.
But if you hold on to your ego, if you insist on your individuality and your specific identity, your file gets tagged with the .ego extension.
Oh.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So dying is essentially hitting sync to cloud.
Right.
But if your file is named with a .ego extension, the cosmic cloud rejects it for being incompatible. It essentially says, error. File format not supported.
Access denied.
Exactly. And because you can't merge with the emptiness of the zero, you're forced to reboot the whole system and get dumped right back into the cosmic smelting loop all over again.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a profound, almost radical comfort in this idea, I think.
How so?
Well, if you look at it closely, it means that our daily struggles, our pain, our frustrations, none of it is random.
It's not just bad luck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It isn't punishment from a chaotic or angry universe. Those struggles are essential background processes. They are literally defragmenting and optimizing our spiritual hard drives so that when the time comes to sync to the cloud, the file is clean.
It makes every annoying, painful, heartbreaking thing in life feel strangely purposeful. It's just burning off the incompatible formatting.
It's the ultimate silver lining. You aren't a victim of the universe. You are actively participating in your own universal update.
Which brings all these incredible threads together beautifully, I think. Reintegrating the cosmic refinery, the glitches, and the quantum uploads. The ultimate conclusion of the source script is this. God, in this framework, is not a person sitting on a cloud with a ledger book tallying your sins.
No.
God is the absolute highest natural law. It is the flawless, automated system governing exactly how energy moves, transforms, and refines itself.
Which means our role in that system is entirely reframed.
Yeah.
We aren't here just to blindly worship a creator or, memorize rigid dogma.
Right.
We are, as the text brilliantly puts it, sacred matter filters.
Sacred matter filters. I absolutely love that term. We are literally designed to understand the system, to experience the friction of the rock crusher, to intentionally drop our egos and eventually return the data to its original perfect purity.
We are quite literally the universe processing itself.
So what does this all mean? It means you have ultimate agency. This framework isn't just some cool abstract thought experiment, it's immensely practical.
Very actionable.
Yeah, it empowers you to look at your life not as a moral test you're constantly failing, but as a system you are actively helping to debug.
It completely removes the paralyzing fear of the mystical unknown and replaces it with mechanics. And mechanics, no matter how complex, can be understood and mastered.
Exactly, you can learn the rules of the code. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Something that builds on everything we've talked about today, but pushes it just a little further out.
Okay, let's hear it.
If our reality, our Earth, our history, our cosmic or refinery is just a localized data processing center designed to refine consciousness down into the ultimate zero,
Yeah.
is it possible that our entire universe is just one of infinite server farms?
Oh, wow. A literal cosmic multiverse of processing centers.
Right. What if everything we've ever known is just one parallel beta test running across a massive, unimaginable cosmic network?
That is quite the thought.
If that's the case, it really makes you wonder, what does your specific individual data output look like today? Are you leaning into the friction to clean your code?
Or are you holding onto that ego extension, guaranteeing another trip through the rock crusher?
Think about that the next time you feel like the universe is out to get you. It might just be trying to clear your cache. Because once you see the cosmic X-ray, you realize the muddy waters of mysticism aren't muddy at all.
They're crystal clear.
It's just perfectly executed binary.
Until next time.